Good morning everyone. We've got a bit of wire and the welder, and we've came down the paddock here to fix a fence that was taken out by water. It must have been a while ago now. We've had a couple of attempts at trying to fix this crossing. The local earth mover fellas came and tried to fix it a couple of times, but we just keep having a fair bit of trouble. The dirt and rock never gets time to settle in, and then it just rains, pours again, and it just washes all away. The trouble we're having is the water comes across the road and then washes out and just washes back. So we're thinking if we put a big log or something across here so that when the water gets across the road it doesn't wash it all the way, erode it all the way, back all the way up here. So as you can see, there's a few bigger rocks here, but they just haven't worked because it's washing away from this end. So we'll give it another go when it stops raining. We had a fair bit of rain again overnight. I'm not too sure how much, but there must have been a little bit. This is flowing again. It's not usually like this, but so we've got a bit of fencing to do because there's cattle in this front paddock, and there's a fair few wet spots in this paddock, and the cattle are starting to mess it up a little bit because they're so heavy and the ground's so wet. They're making deep holes in the paddock, and we're going to sow this again. What's today? Yeah, this year. So we want to get them off it and stop them from making holes, especially after the rain last night. They'll keep making holes like this all over the place. But we've got to fix this fence so we can lock them out of this paddock. So what we've got to do is strain these wires back up to this post. We're going to weld a stay on here, back to here. And then once we fix this creek crossing, we'll weld another stay back to there and have a bit of cable going across from here to that post. And then just have a bit of wire on the bottom that just moves when there's a flood. I think that's the best. We think that's the best way to do it. So we'll see how we go. But first things first, we've got to get this stay sorted out. So the stay holds the post up. The wire will be strained to this post, and it's got to have something obviously to stop the post from pulling over. So.
He has recorded 992 new cases.
So it's looking pretty dark over there, so we got most of it done. We didn't get to hang one gate off a wooden post. We don't need the welder for that, but I think it's about to absolutely pour down, so we're just going to take the generator, get the generator and welder home and out of the weather, because I'm sure rain on electricity wouldn't be very good for it. So it's wet. Look at that dog. So there's about 300, there's nearly 300 bales in this hay shed. It's pretty knackered. It's just about buggered, but it does keep things dry. But well, hopefully now we're having a bit of trouble. I used the grater blade to scratch a bit of a trench along the back here, because there's a lot of water. There's a big catchment up there, and it sort of just flows straight down through here and into the shed and underneath all the bales. Last year I had terrible trouble. Ended up with about, must have been nearly 40 ruined bales. Well, not ruined, just got wet on the bottom of them, and I didn't really want to sell them to people. It's just not very, I just didn't want to do it, so we ended up just sticking them outside here and using them for ourselves. But I just want to get around the back here and see if it's worked. Which it looks like it has. That's good. I put a bit of dirt at the back here too to try and stop the water if it did come in, which it has a little bit there, but nothing like it was. That's good. Yeah, there's about 300 bales in here. There's a lot of hay. This stuff, this is just pasture hay. It ended up pretty nice, coming out pretty nice hay. There's a bit of clover, and that's phalaris. And then over here, this stuff, this is the oaten hay that I baled up in the last video. Yeah, it was. So it's pretty well just straw. There's not a lot of. There's a little bit of seed in there, but nah, just mainly straw. Had one fella come and got 3 bales off me to put in his paddock. There's a bit of roughage for his lambs that are on some brassica, so be interested to see how they go on that. So what I meant when I said it was chopped in the baler was it goes through a set of knives, and it sort of just almost chafs it up into just little lengths instead of having a big long stalk, oat stalk in there that the sheep don't really do as well on, or like, you know, they're much happier to chew in something like this that's been chopped, rather than cattle are probably better on it, but sheep, yeah, enjoy the shorter stuff, just like they enjoy shorter grass. So no, I'm really happy with that. The water hasn't come in the back of the shed at all. So I did put a couple of last year's bad bales just here in case it did go in, but it hasn't. What are you doing up there? Hey, Max, what are you doing? So we got the tractor in the shed here. Someone broke a mirror, so that had to be replaced. And there's just a few little things that have got to be done to it. So we just finished baling a couple of days ago. Just got to give the radiators a bit of a blowout and get all this crap out of there. It's not good for it. It's not running hot or anything, but it's just good practice to do every time you finish up doing something messy like baling, or because baling, there's a lot of grass that flies around and gets caught in all these and goes through the dirt that goes through there, and if you do leave it too long, the tractor starts to get warm, and that's not very good for it. So this is Maggie. Sit. Thank you. Sit. Sit. Thank you. Come on.
I'm spending money like I just got paid. $100 bills, tell them keep the change. Come on. Yeah, pop a bottle, about to make it rain. Let me give you something now to celebrate. Come on. And if you're wondering why I move the way I do, I just feel so good, good, good. Oh, I just feel so good, good, good. Oh, I store shades, rose-colored lenses, and a fake gold frame.
So Dad's just gone down to shift those cattle out of that paddock into a higher paddock. I'm just grabbing a bit of lucerne hay. This hay we bought in from a friend of ours. We do, if you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen we do have our own lucerne. We mulched the first cut just because it was a bit too rank, because it had been raining and we just couldn't get the weather to make the hay, so we mulched it for the first cut. And so the second cut, after this change goes through, we should be able to cut and make our own lucerne, which is pretty exciting because it's the first time we've tried growing lucerne here, so it'll be really keen to see how that goes. But I'm just going to take one of these bales down. We also AI'd some stud ewes for the first time this year, which is also very exciting, so we're trying to keep them in pretty good order still for 35 days after they've been AI'd. So I'm just going to take one of these bales down and give to them, keep them going a bit. They've been eating all of the stuff that we've been giving them previously, so may as well keep trying to feed them. A little bit dirty on the bottom there, but that's just because it was in the bottom of the shed, so don't worry. These old girls, they're pigs, they'll eat nearly anything, these Pole Dorset ewes. Anyway guys, that's going to be the end of another video. Hope you enjoyed it. It's a bit different. I just tried to explain everything a bit better, so we've got something going on now, but that'll be the next video, so no worries. We'll see you in the next one. See ya, bye.